Right, I'm on a train. Hopefully you can hear me all right. I'm probably speaking quite quietly. But in this video, very quick, off the cuff video, I'm going to tell you the secret to productivity, or one of the few secrets to productivity. But before that, I want to share with you a quick story that kind of how we got here and why I wanted to do this video. So, for a while, I have needed to record a VSL. I have had the idea, I've been playing around with the idea in my head, but I haven't actually been doing the thing because I kind of, the creative process of creating a VSL is painful when you sit down and look at, the blank sheet and then you think, how do I want to put this together? And then you have to record it. And also, I don't know about you, but for me, when there's an asset like a VSL that you want to last for a very, very long time, the um, the perfectionism that you can experience and feeling like, oh, maybe I'll just wait until this, or maybe I'll just wait until this condition is met, or whatever else. The perfectionism that I feel for an asset that I want to last for a long time really, really, really increases. So I've had this idea that I've needed to execute on for a while, and the weeks kept going by, and I kept not making the time for it until, as you can see, I'm on a train. Until I was just about to have to go home from Manchester back down south to home for about a week or so. So when I realised this, I realised, when I want to record my VSL in my office, if I want to get the VSL done in the next like 10 days, I need to do it now. And I realised that this week. So after all of these weeks of putting it off and feeling like it wasn't the right time, or feeling like I didn't have the time, yesterday, after I did all my normal work, I sat down at 7 p.m. at a shisha lounge, whatever it's called, got the laptop out, had a shisha, and in 90 minutes, I planned the entire VSL and the concept of it and everything else, and I put it into like the visual asset that I'm going to actually be recording it on. And then I went to sleep. Today, I woke up, went to kickboxing, and got home, and I recorded it in 40 minutes. And then I'm on the train now going home, and I just spent the last probably another 40 minutes just editing it and cutting it down as much as possible. It's now done. The VSL that I've put off for the last weeks and weeks and weeks was done in less than 24 hours, including sleep within that 24 hours. So what changed? I
If you
find
see something that doesn't look right, speak to staff. Or
see it, say it, sort it. I finally had a constraint. I finally had an actual reason why I needed to do it within a certain amount of time. Because there's this thing that you've probably heard of called Parkinson's Law, which states that work will expand to fill the time that you allow for that work to be done in, right? And when I didn't contain the work in any short amount of time, it expanded to forever. When it was finally contained because I was about to go home, the work finally got done. So Parkinson's Law happened, and I managed to get that thing done in less than 24 hours. And in the same, well, it's 8 now, so it's not 24 hours, but not long after that, I'm still doing a video and everything else, right? A lot is now happening, and the video is the same thing. I want to get this video done before my train gets to the station that I need to get off of in 20 minutes. So the interesting thing about this Parkinson's Law, right, which, time and time again, after 10 years of being in business, I have just proved time and time again to myself, is it's terrible for those of us, coaches, creators, and entrepreneurs, that feel like we are the ones that will do anything, right? When we're willing to do anything for our business, and our business is like the number one priority, and it takes all of our time up, and we want to dedicate all of our time to it. When we want to operate like that, we actually have no constraints. And when we have no constraints, Parkinson's Law takes place, right? And the work expands to fill the time that we give it. So one of the most productive things that we can actually do or one of the most effective things that we can do for our productivity is actually work less. Because if we go from, working as much as we possibly want to saying that we must get our work done in 6 hours, for example, you are forced to actually be productive. You are forced to actually produce. And that is what productivity is, right? It's how much can we actually produce in a short space of time. So the ultimate hack for productivity, like I promised you would find out in this video, is focus on constraints. Give yourself clear constraints in your day, in your work day, around your work, whatever else it might be. Give yourself clear constraints that you need to get your work done within, because it's going to help you actually get the work done fast and effectively. So that might be being really, really clear on when you start work and really clear on when you finish work. And by the way, if you don't do that, that is one of the most useful things you can possibly do in your business, is just define a time when you do actually stop work. It might be, and again, this is another one of the most effective things you can do, it might be to telling yourself, I only work 6 hours per day, and sticking to that constraint. It might be telling yourself, and I remember when I did this one and it was a game changer when I finally did it, it might be telling yourself that you do not do any work on the weekend, or in my case it was, I do not do any client work on the weekend. When I finally committed to that constraint, all of a sudden, all of my client work was getting done in the week, and I didn't need to do it over the weekend, and it was a game changer. And all it took was the commitment to the constraint. And the inverse of this also works as well, right? So instead of containing the business, can you commit to anything outside of the business and outside of work that contains the business itself? So committing to training, or committing to certain things in your relationship or with your family or friends or anything else that forces you to get work done faster, or committing to hobbies and stuff like this, because the more that you can commit to these things, the more constraints that are built in, and the faster that you need to work and the more effective you are forced to be. So the beautiful thing about setting these constraints is, number one, you become way more selective with the actual work that you spend your time doing. When you don't have any constraints and you feel like you're just willing to work all of the hours, and by the way, you do actually have constraints, you're just not actually aware of them yet. You have constraints with your energy, with your sleep and everything else. By the way, they are already there, you're just not accepting them, and you're not aware of them, and you're not actually committing to them. So you hit into them and you don't get all of your work done, instead of being really clear with where they are, right? Just to be clear with that. So when you don't actually set your own constraints and stick with them, you don't need to be really selective with the work that you actually do. And what happens most of the time? Usually in your business, there's probably going to be things that you absolutely love doing and that you would love to spend all of your time doing, and there's going to be things that you don't enjoy as much. You are going to end up doing all of the stuff that you love to do, and then it's either going to get too late, or you are going to hit the energy constraint where you just don't have the energy to do it much more. You won't do the things that you need to do but you don't like as much. When we can be really clear with the constraints we've set, whether that's I only work 6 hours a day or this or that, whatever else it is, when we can be really, really clear with that, you can make sure that everything actually gets done, the good, the bad, and the ugly. When you set constraints, you start to actually find the inefficiencies in your work, because you cannot let inefficiencies stay. Again, if you said that you only work 6 hours a day, right? And by the way, if that feels like still a lot, like, I challenge you to get it even lower. If you told me that, or if you committed to only working 6 hours a day, and then you were struggling to keep it within that 6 hours, or some things were getting missed, now you start to look throughout those 6 hours, where's your time being spent, what are you doing? And then you can actually finally see the inefficiencies. When you're allowing yourself to work all of the time and you're not setting any constraints, you don't find those inefficiencies. And when you find them, you can either eliminate the inefficiencies, you can systemize the inefficiencies, or you can delegate something so you can continue to get your work done within the constraint. So it actually improves your leverage and your efficiency. And the final thing that constraints really, really helps with is, like I said at the start of this video, it's your perfectionism. We've all got it. I see it with clients all of the time. They can take ages and ages and ages with their offer, and loads of other things as well in business, loads of other things. But let's say it's their offer, right? They can take ages and ages with their offer, like weeks sometimes. And I always go to the same move when this happens. I message them and I say, okay, here's your job. Because, by the way, most of the time they create their offer, then they have to send it to me and I have a look at it anyway. So I say, look, here's the task. You have 1 hour, set 1 hour tomorrow to sit down and get this offer done and send it over to me. And I bet you can do it. And after a week or two of them not actually being able to do it because they're stuck in procrastination and perfectionism, they get it done in an hour because they finally said it for themselves, right? So the final thing that this really, really helps with, and this is the most important thing in these businesses, is it gets us over perfectionism. It gets us taking action. It gets us putting things out there and learning, just like I did with this VSL. So that was a real quick one. That was me staying consistent with my 1 YouTube video a week, even though I am on the train. I hope that was useful, and I will see you in the next one.